Okay, so back to that video. Oh, and by the way, people, this is what World Traveler lifestyle looks like. As you saw the outside of the apartment, this is the inside of the apartment. Now, I will say it's a fabulous use of space. I mean, get into that bathroom. Much smarter than some of the things we do in the US, to be completely honest. And some of the things that I'll maybe incorporate into, you know, my nation building exercise with the real estate that I do own, because like I said, I'm gonna really adopt some of the sovereigns that are in my family's best practices, you know, one of which being Lady Elizabeth or Queen Elizabeth. You know, I mean, of course we're distant relatives, but like if you're European or if you're a member of this earth, there's a good chance you're probably related to her too. So I don't want you to like hear, oh wow, he's related to the Queen. He thinks he's, you know, the Queen Elizabeth's sister, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no. My mom did a DNA test. She figured out how to trace back DNA for a few hundred years, which is not really that hard once you understand how to use some of these different tools that are made available to us. And she was like, hey, I found out we're related to King Henry, you know. So of course, you know where that line goes as far as back, you know, all the way to, some say King David and King Jesus and all that other good stuff. But some say as far recent as Queen Elizabeth. You know, of course, the bloodline is very unique in that it's gone in a lot of different directions. But this video is not about bloodlines, because at the end of the day, there's really no such thing as one bloodline versus the other or blah, blah, blah. But like, just people understand personhood is sovereignty. You are worthy to declare yourself a sovereign, you know, and that's one of my goals, at least as I've come to understand it based on my calling. You know, I've come to understand legally how to declare sovereignty. You know, being stuck in a hospital for a month, you know, as some of you know, I engaged with the United Nations. And I didn't just call them and say, hey, you know, I want to get refugee assistance, although I understood that to be one of the quickest tools to help get me out of the predicament I was in. You know, I wrote them a nice little letter and I just explained, like, I have come to understand that I am a sovereign. My goal is to one day establish my nation, you know, and potentially work with you guys as United Nations. However, as of this moment, I'm being held against my will. Understand that from a human perspective, you know, there are certain elements being introduced that I do not agree with, and I believe that there are human rights violations being done here. You know, and the thing is, when you approach United Nations in that way, you get a pretty unique response. You know, and I will say that I was pleased, you know, to work with him, you know, as a individual. You know, but I'll say at the end of the day, it's just another corporation. Just like the US is a corporation, just like all these countries are just corporations, all these states, all these cities are just corporations. Like, I am the president of my own corporation, which makes me a sovereign, technically, legally, all that good stuff. Like, at the end of the day, if you're a person, you're a sovereign. But I don't know. I try not to just throw it out there a whole bunch, just because I know some people are going to be like, ah, yeah, whatever, this sovereign shit, blah, blah, blah. Like, at the end of the day, there are benefits to it. Like, legally speaking, there are sovereigns all throughout the US and throughout the world that have, like, come to understand that there are legal tools you can use based on the laws that were actually written years and years ago. You know, there were certain treaties that were signed that allow people to kind of maintain their sovereignty if they understand how the treaties work. There were, and actually not were, but are, you know, constitutional differences for how, of course, visiting sovereigns are treated. There are United Nations law, not United Nations laws, but honestly, I can't think of the term, and I'm not gonna, you know, use Google and find it right now or use any other search media. I'm just gonna tell you to look into it. Like, use your search engine and say, what do I need to do to declare my sovereignty? And literally, there's a Wikipedia page that is honestly quite helpful because it literally shows you the legal way, and it shows you examples of people that have actually declared their sovereignty. You know, both those that were successful and those that, like, had governments come in and say, I don't care if you threw sand over here and called yourself an island, like, we want it, so we're going to take it. Like, and it's sad that these corporations have gotten to the point where, you know, they are willing to use military force to force you into their society. You know, it's like that. You really have to understand that. Like, as I come to these first world country destinations, honestly, it's similar to what, what the Christ referred to as being like the crucifixion. You know, just having to come to a land that buys into certain things I just don't believe in. You know, it's very tough. You know, I don't want people to just think like I'm in Hong Kong, although, you know, you'll see videos of me partying and having fun. Like, and trust me, like, it's the people that I enjoy. Like, but when I look at the systems, and it's just like, I understand finance, so I understand that this infrastructure has been paid for. Like, why are you paying to get on the train? Why are you paying to live in a house? Like, this building was built and paid for 10 times. Like, it's because there's a system in place that makes people understand that, oh, well, I bought the house 10 years ago at such price, so owning it for 10 years means I should be able to sell it for X price, which is, you know, now higher than what I bought it for. And it's just like, great. I'm glad you have return on your investment. You know, and at the end of the day, I'm a real estate investor. So, you know, I'm not completely detached from the things and the systems that I understand are oppressive systems. So, like, I still do, you know, bear my... I reflect on some of the things that I've done in life that are not in agreement with the person that I've come to realize I should be. You know, realistically, Young, Wild, and Free is not just a song or a phrase. It's a concept that, like, again, young is not defined by how old you are. You know, going into my 20s, you know, everybody, oh, when you get to 25, you're going to be old. Or when you get to 30, you're going to be old. Or when you get to 40, you're going to be old. And it's like, that causes anxiety that's really unnecessary. You know, especially considering the fact that as I've traveled through the world, like, I've met 10-year-olds, 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90-year-olds. I'm pretty sure I've met a few 100-year-olds and above, but I don't want to just say, you know, for sure, like, I know them, because I can't think of any off the top of my head, but, like, there are people all throughout the world who still maintain their youth, you know, and, like, at the end of the day, I know I'm blabbing and I'm giving you guys a lot of random information, but, like, I want you to understand that my book, Health, Wealth, and Peace, will be potentially more structured, just because, like, my portions of it will not be structured. Like, so I do want you guys to understand that, like, I've already decided I'm going to do handwritten notes. I'm going to maybe type some stuff, you know, maybe just cut, copy, and paste some stuff. But, like, I'm collaborating with my dad, who's a best-selling author, because I know that for a book to, you know, be successful, you sometimes have to collaborate. And I'm like, you know, why not work with my dad? Why not work with my grandfather, who's a medical doctor? You know, because, again, my goal is to help the world understand what health, wealth, and peace looks like. You know, and I'm just like, you know, a lot of us get caught up on this whole Trinity concept. It's like, oh, wow, the Holy Trinity. And it's like, I am a living member of a Trinity. Like, me, my dad, and my grandpa, we are a Trinity. You know, and I will say that as I've reflected on life, you know, I've decided that, you know, I want to engage more people in my life to do the same thing, you know, as far as this health, wealth, and peace is concerned, you know, because I've kind of meditated on, like, some of the contributions my mom has made to my life, and it's just like, she understands health, wealth, and peace at a really high level. Like, truly, like, I will say, you know, I don't necessarily agree with the way she lives all of her life. You know, there are certain systems that she believes in that I just don't believe in or buy into, because I understand them to be oppressive, and, you know, they literally kind of kill you as far as medicine is concerned. But, you know, I mean, again, we all have, you know, our way. But I don't know, I blabbed enough. It's 7 a.m. You know, I'm just literally up because, like, tonight was just so amazing. But, you know, I thought I would share with the people, like, what world traveler looks like. By the way, look at my foot. This was the one that was sprained. It's working pretty good. As you can see, somebody did step on my damn foot. Because, you know, I'm doing the sandals, like, as you know, I lost all my luggage, so if you see me in the same outfit, don't judge me, because at the end of the day, I do know how to use a washing machine. But just like those of us that have jobs, you know, we work in our uniform. Like, honestly, I kind of was thinking to myself, like, oh my gosh, I'm going to see some of the same people tomorrow and Sunday, because there's this huge music festival that I'm more than likely going to participate in. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, they saw me, and, you know, this outfit is not very common. So I think some people might recognize, like, hey, wait a minute, those are the same baggy pants you wore yesterday, and hey, that's the same Bruce Lee shirt. Like, at the end of the day, this is my work uniform. So don't judge me. It's my work uniform. Health, wealth, and peace to all of you. Peace, health, love, light, all that good stuff. Bye.